Hi guys, Ren here. Today I'm showing you something completely new that I just got. So a couple of weeks ago I decided to get into mountain biking to try something new. I've ridden a whole lot on the road this year and it's a bit of a stereotype, to be honest, and I wanted to freshen things up. And I was thinking about a couple of new mountain bikes that have appeared. Of course, me being quite good on the road, I wanted to go for the more XC and race oriented style of bike, and I saw this as a second-hand bike on one of the sites. I went out, had a look, I liked it, so I took it. What this is? Well, it's not the latest and greatest from Cannondale. This is the previous generation of the FSI. It's 29er carbon hardtail. According to the reviews, it's one of the better ones. As you can see, completely flattened frame profiles here for compliance, very skinny bent seat posts, so should be a very good ride. Super light as well. I think this will come up under 9 kilos, but we'll measure that. Very nice spec as well. Full XX1 Eagle group set, almost brand new. This is the standard version of the gold one. Then NV M50 wheels, super nice. The front one is already set up tubeless. The rear one needs to be fixed to get tubeless. As you can see, the bike has no brakes at the moment. That's because it was offered with some older style Shimano XTR brakes, but I don't want to have a mismatched bike, so I decided, I agreed with the owner to keep those, and I will get some SRAM brakes for it, foam grips, lefty fork. As you can see, it's now rotated the wrong way for transport. Of course, this needs to be slammed. It has the integrated OPI stem, Cannondale carbon bar. This is the hydraulic lockout for the lefty. Yeah, the stickers are a bit battered. I think I'll just remove these altogether, save a couple of grams. I'm not really all in for the aesthetic. Yeah, it's a size medium, so should be ideal for me. And I've also prepared a couple of upgrades for it. So the brakes, as mentioned, level ultimates to fit this bike. The SRAM's newest, latest and greatest brakes to go with the XX1 Eagle group set. 2 piston calipers there, all the lightest hardware, titanium bolts, carbon lever blade, super light, still very good braking. A spare chain, of course. It's black to match the cassette a little bit better. And some Centerline X rotors. These are the lighter versions with the aluminum carrier. 160mm front and rear. Should be good enough for mountain bike speeds and for my low weight. And then a SRAM XX1 power meter. This is a BB30 version. So same as the crankset currently on the bike. And Quark say that this is not compatible with Cannondale's offset drivetrain. Well, we'll see about that, but since there already is an XX1 Eagle crankset on there with no problems, it's just that the preload ring is removed, like on the Cannondale road bike that I've done. It should be a straight fit. Of course, you need to keep in mind that on the Cannondale AI, the drivetrain is offset 6mm to the right. The Boost version only gives or only offsets it 3mm, so it's sort of halfway between a standard setup and what it should be for AI, but I think those 3mm are not going to spoil the fun here. And to me, a bike without a power meter is pretty much useless, even more so if you take into consideration the marathon style of racing, which is basically a 3-4 hour dumb shell. You really have to keep an eye on your power to be successful. I wanted to go primarily for a full suspension bike. Yeah, this is not one, but as I said, I got it very cheap. So if I were to like and be successful or good at marathon racing, cross-country racing, then I will sell this one. I think I could even profit on it, and then get something from the latest bikes, and possibly a full suspension bike, although the course I'm going to do isn't very technical. It has a lot of climbing, so the low weight of this bike should really complement my body type, so we'll see. Okay, now let's put the bike together and see how it goes. Okay, the bike is now ready. It actually took me a little bit longer than I expected, but it's finished now and ready to ride. So let's just go through what I've done to make it, well, up to spec. So starting from the front, I removed the spacers under the OPI stem, as I mentioned. It's quite tough, to be honest, as a one-person job, because the whole front end just wiggles around and lefty and everything, so not very user-friendly, I have to say. I've put on a Wahoo mount right here with some zip ties. Installed the level ultimate brakes. These are actually very, very nice. Carbon lever, little bearing here, so super smooth. So I had to shorten the hoses, rebleed the whole brakes or both brakes. I also installed these little and very neat matchmaker levers, so there's just one clamp really for the brake and the shifter. Same on the other side. The lefty uses a RockShox hydraulic lockout like you would have on a reverb, so the same thing. So yeah, you can just bolt the brake lever directly to that, so that's very nice. The front wheel, I greased both bearings. I also had to do a little modification to the brake carrier, because the level brake has quite a large piston in here, so it's a big brake, and I had to file off a little bit from this carrier just to be able to clear that. 160 centerline X rotor with the aluminum carrier, so super light. The front tire is in quite good condition, so I think I'm keeping that. I've also checked the rim tape and the valve, and they're okay here. In the front wheel, it's running nice and true, so no problems here. I also greased the headset when I had it torn down. Put some fiber grip on the bars. Tried to wash the foam grips, but the dirt didn't really get out, so I'm getting some new black ones, black silicone supercast grips. So they should feel nice. I like to ride without the gloves, so that's another modification I'm going to make. Yeah, so the brake hose runs down on the outside of the frame, which in theory makes it easier, but I had to cut it anyway, so I couldn't get past the bleeding process. Although it's very well designed with these SRAM level brakes. I have these SRAM Pro bleed kits, so no real problem there. Around the side loader bottle cages, although I think the hold is not strong enough for mountain bike use, so I might put on the normal mandible ones. Then what else? Yeah, so the crankset, I took it apart. It was a standard BB30 SRAM Eagle with the preload adjuster removed. That way it fits perfectly with a couple of very thin washers. I just pulled that one off and installed an XX1 with a Quark D0 on there. 34 tooth chainring, although I think I could have gone bigger, 36 or 38, because I had a little spin and I was in the lower end of the cassette for most of the time, but maybe in the hills it will be handy, and on some tougher trails. I've also greased, put some real waterproof grease on the bearings. They're quite in good condition, so don't need changing. There's also this little hole in the frame which allows water to enter at this point, so I taped it up with some Gorilla Tape. I don't know why it isn't there, perhaps it has a purpose, but like this is just letting water stand basically here in the bottom bracket area, which is not very helpful. Then chain wise, I checked the chain for wear. It's okay. I didn't have time to do a proper re-grease and re-wax because all the other chains I have are waxed now, so I just cleaned it with some degreaser here on the bike and applied UFO drip. With the rear wheel, that needed a little bit more attention because the rim tape was broken, so I removed that, cleaned up the old sealant and put some new rim tape on there and a new tubeless valve. Although this one it took me quite a lot of time to stop it from leaking, but then I managed to do that again with a bit of Gorilla Tape extra. So cassette wise, the cassette seems to be okay, a bit of wear on there but nothing serious. Rear brake, well, that was quite tricky to adjust. I had to chew the rotor a bit. It was a bit squashed, I think, in the packaging. It's quite thin. So yeah, overall it took me a little bit longer than expected, but the bike turned out to be very nice. The rear tire is a bit worn though, so I will be changing that for the race. But so far so good. I had a little short ride, but the rain caught me, so it got extremely muddy. So basically I ended up washing the bike for 1 hour afterwards and all my things, so not how I want it to be as a first ride, but hopefully the weather will improve and I will do some proper rides on it. But from the first things that I can take away, the lefty, well, it seems a bit weird, but it works. The lockout is super hard, super efficient, and the bike rolls pretty well. The rear end appears to be very compliant, even though it's a hardtail, so that's a good thing. But I couldn't get to ride proper trails just yet, so we'll see how it performs. If you'd like to know more about that, or perhaps my other skinnier type bikes, then don't forget to tune into the channel and subscribe. it's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.